Today we are looking at the granddaddy of them all, Summoner's War. I am Gacha J. This is your home for Gacha news, analysis, and reviews. Let's go. So should you play Summoner's War in 2021? If you're a new player, this is the video for you. We are going to start out where everybody wants to start out, the graphics. What does this game look like? Well, this game probably should get 2 ratings in terms of its graphics, a 4 and a 6, which average out to a 5. If you're looking at the old units presented in this game, the ones that you're most likely going to run into in the early portion of the game and not really be given anything else, they're really not that impressive. They're really generic, and they're really not interesting in terms of both gameplay, design, and animations. But if you're looking at some of these new releases that they're coming out with still in the game, those things are pretty interesting. And I found myself using mentors for their specific units just because of how they looked in their animations and how cool it was. You're not going to get over the top animations in this game, which is actually a good thing because it runs very fluid and you don't feel like you need to and want to turn animations off, where something over the top like Epic 7, sometimes you're like, okay, if I could just turn these animations off, it would save me, several hours of my day. Now, overall, I think that the graphics of this game are at a 5. You're not going to be blown away by it, but if you're interested in the game, you're also not going to be turned off by it. So that to me seems pretty average and standard. I think if they redid the main continent, that your little kingdom thing, and they redid all of the old champions and made them more fresh, this game would finish at a 6 instead of a 5. But all of those 4s kind of average things out to a 5. And the story, I had to debate how I felt towards it. Personally, the story was at like a 2 or a 3 for me, but I've seen enough people online actually progressing and talking about the lore and debating the lore and getting into the lore that I know that it's for some people. I mean, I wasn't interested in these PNGs that were talking to me. They were kind of talking a lot and they weren't gripping me right off the start. So I gave it the benefit of the doubt. I think a lot of the purists would say that the story is at like a 7 or 8, but you really would have a hard time convincing me of doing that without an additional 10 to 20 hours of reading. So I'm just going to make the compromise here and put it at a 5. But again, for me personally, the story's probably worth skipping entirely. And that's what I did when I played. I'm going to be honest with you. After about 45 minutes of reading and not being interested in the slightest, I just started hitting the skip button. So I'll compromise with you people and I'll give it a 5. Now, progression. This is what we're here for. This is the granddaddy of all progression systems. Most gachas base their progression systems, if not straight up copy Summoner's War progression system. 1, because it is rewarding, it is fun, it is pretty straightforward, and 2, it's highly profitable. Yeah, you get to a point in these progression systems where you realize that if you just throw money at it, you're going to save yourself a ton of time. So you're willing to give them 5, 10, 20, 2,000, 7,000. Yeah, there's people that have done that. And so as a free-to-play player, you're going to have fun through the progression system. You're going to feel like you have choices in front of you. You're going to feel those choices pay off in very meaningful ways. You are going to see the difference your progression makes on the impact of the game. It's a very strong progression system and it's copied for very good reasons. So 7 out of 10, above average, not amazing or immaculate. It does have its shortfalls. It does push you towards the money side of things, but it's still very rewarding and fun, even as free to play. Gameplay, we're going to put this at a 7 out of 10 as well, for a lot of the same reasons that Epic 7 falls out of 7 out of 10 in terms of gameplay. It's really not bringing anything truly unique in terms of gameplay experience to you, but they do a really strong job of giving you choices to make. And when it comes to RTA, feeling like those choices have significant impact. The PvP and arena, there is not like just 4 units that overwhelm straight up everything that everybody uses. No, there are a lot of different strategies you can employ. You can catch people off guard. You can build a unit in a specific way that they're not expecting, that can do different things. There's a lot that can be done in this gameplay, but it does take a significant time to get to that. If you could feel all that impact up front, it probably would be like an 8 or a 9 in terms of its gameplay, despite having nothing new. And a lot of the gameplay, how strong to it, is a testament to how old Summoner's War is and how many heroes that they have introduced into this game that they are trying to balance around. And frankly, they do an okay job at it. It's worthwhile from a gameplay experience. If you decide to get into it, you will feel like you're rewarded. For the uniqueness of this game, I went ahead and gave it a 6 out of 10. The reason being is that I feel like a lot of the elements that made Summoners War more unique early on have been copied and deployed elsewhere, probably better and more efficiently. So when you're looking at Summoners War now as a new player coming in, it's not going to feel overtly unique, but you're still going to walk away and you're going to recognize that is just very blindly Summoners War. There's no mistaking it. And you're going to get a lot out of that experience. You're going to walk away. You're going to know which heroes that they are basing their IP around. And overall, you're going to get a feel for the game. So I think that they've lost some of their uniqueness over time, and they've done a pretty bad job at recapturing that uniqueness. Because it was so strong early on, it still factors at a 6 right now. The game really could do a lot if Com2Us decided to reskin Summoners War in a lot of capacities and bring it back up to modern standards and visualization and branding strategies, instead of trying to find other games to add to their portfolio, which we all know that they do in abundance. Monetization, I'm going to put it at a 6 out of 10. This game really does reward those that have played for a very long time. I think that from a monetization point of view, compared to something like Epic 7, which got a 5 out of 10, and I'm comparing it to Epic 7 for good reason. A lot of people call Epic 7 Summoners War 2.0, which I can see, but they're very different in a lot of different ways. But monetization, I think that the game gives you so many more choices that are adaptable and usable, that even if you aren't getting exactly what you want, you're getting what you can use and is great. Whereas something like Epic 7, there are a lot of rolls that you grab and you're just like, dang it, I wasted my odds when I rolled this one. I wasted all of these rolls trying to pull something to get to this pity point or to get to this percentage chance of dropping, and I got this crap. Summoners War, I mean, sure, there's things that you're chasing and you really want, but a lot of the pieces that you get, you still very much feel like you can put into play. So I gave it a 6 out of 10. There's definitely a lot of things they could do to get this higher, and I don't really want to get too much in depth in that, because if you're going to Summoners War, the main reason why is the next part, and that's the community. I gave it a 9 out of 10. The community for Summoners War is on point. If you are looking for a game that you know will be around for a very long time, that you can really stick your teeth into community-wise, even make a name for yourself or find really long-lasting friends, I don't think you're going to run into a gacha game quite as optimized and geared for that as Summoners War is. The community for this game is both unique, vibrant, and thriving. Very loving overall from a community standpoint. I think some of the YouTubers are a demonstration of that the best. All of the footage that you've seen in this was given to me by Childish Plays, a very, very well-known member of the Summoners War community, and he had nothing but glowing remarks to say about his entire time in this community. And honestly, guys, when talking to other gacha streamers or YouTube creators, not every game can say that about their community. A lot of gacha community influencers actually really hate the community that they're pushed into. I haven't ran into anyone that feels that way about Summoners War. I know a lot of people that have left Summoners War, which is going to happen because it's such an old game, that still talk super, super highly about these YouTubers, their community experience. So overall, Summoners War has one of the best communities, period. Now, the only reason it didn't get a 10 is because the length that this game has been out actually does hinder it in a lot of different ways. It will take you a very long time to get to the point where your community members actually lie. So some of the strengths towards the progression system actually shortfall it on the community side. Some of the reasons why it's the granddaddy of it all hurt the community side. But let's be honest, it's a 9 out of 10. So, I mean, the amount of influence that has on your overall enjoyment of the game is pretty minuscule. I mean, it's something that you go, yeah, that's a knock, but who cares? Overall, Summoners War clocks in at a 6.43. It is a very strong game, even if you're brand new, even if you don't think the graphics are the best. It makes a ton of sense if the strengths of this game appeal to you to make this your main game and to not feel bad about it. Honestly, that's pretty rare in the gacha space right now. So kudos to you, Com2Us. Kudos to you, Summoners War. Kudos to you, Summoners War community. You continue to make this game pretty daggone good. I'm Gacha J. This is your home for gacha news, analysis, and reviews. Peace.